Hey, tourpreneurs, it's Mitch Bach, and just a quick note before we begin today's episode. Tourpreneur is currently sponsored by Google. We're thankful for their support of our community, and we are offering with them a completely free course helping you unlock the power and potential of Google's Things to Do program, which is specifically helping tour operators add their tours to Google in new ways that gives you new exposure and more direct bookings. To learn more, go to tourpreneur.com/Google. And as always, show notes, more resources, links to our newsletter, our business coaching community, and so much more are available on tourpreneur.com. Now to the episode.
Welcome, everyone, to the Tourpreneur podcast. And today I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming Merica Brewster of the Von Mack Agency. Welcome, Merica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you're obviously well known in our industry, but for those who don't know you or maybe new to the industry, do you want to give a little bit about yourself and what Von Mack's all about?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I am Merica Brewster. I'm with the Von Mack Agency. We specialize in marketing for experiences. So there's a lot of work there within the tour sector, the attractions game, as well as all the way up to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, level. We really specialize in things like seasonality, knowing your client, knowing the entire process of the decision-making behavior. All that good stuff. A lot of us have worked in-house as well. We're full service, so everything from branding all the way to super niche digital campaigns, and we're located in New Orleans, Louisiana. So we're, bottom center of the States, but we service people worldwide. So very happy to be here.
Excellent. No, I appreciate you spending some time with us. So today we're going to be talking a bit about social media, and I know that's a subject that's very close to your heart and very strong within the Von Mack Agency. And today I believe you're going to be sharing some sort of top 5 tips about growing your brand on social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things about Von Mack is we kind of model ourselves as an idea house, and that's a very creative space. And social obviously leans to that very strongly. And as we've worked together, and seeing everything online, that's how all of us have come together, right? Especially with Tourpreneur, that's how we found things. And it's about getting yourself out there in the most authentic way and building your brand and how you do so. And being creative, you also have to test. We do a lot of testing on Von Mack, and these are some of the things that we have found that have actually been just the pillars of everything we've done. And it's a great basis for when you get to campaigns, because then you'll have this organic community and this organic following that will help you get that off the ground. So the first one, going straight into it, is being true to your brand, having continuity. And it sounds so simple, but it's something where you have to be top of mind about it, because if you are not, as you know, Chris, it's, you'll get away from it. You'll start posting pictures of your kids with, outside of your boat. If you're a water sports company, you'll just, it's good to become second nature, but you have to remember why you're doing it. And you're doing it to stand out from the crowd, right? To be part of that. So one of the examples I like to say is way back when I used to work for a company that had swamp tours. Swamp tours are great. Swamp tours get a lot of money. They're very lucrative down here in Louisiana, but there's quite a few of them, right? So you have to figure out exactly why you're different and put that online, not just on your website, but in your social. You have to prove it over and over again, because what you're doing is, when you're planting this seed for someone who follows your page or sees your content out there, several states away, another world away, they need to remember that when they get to town, that you were that swamp tour that they saw. It's not another one, and that they don't book a different one when they come to town. So how do you do that? You figure out what makes you different, and then you post about it, right? So if you're the one who has the albino gator, make sure that you mention that multiple times and that you feature that in your social, and that you're not posting a picture of your family and not even mentioning a gator or not even mentioning what you do. So you have to always kind of build on that.
How strong do you think it is? And I know the answer to this, but for the audience, know how strong do you think it is about getting the personality across of a brand, or having all the guides be part of that social media sort of posting and content and everything else? How strong do you believe that side of it is for making it a success?
I think it's paramount. I mean, I don't know if you would agree,
Yep.
but I think it's paramount. I think the voice of your brand, and you have to think about the tone of that voice. Are you friendly and approachable? Are you authoritative, right? Are you the encyclopedia where you do the architecture tours, or the museum? However that is, that needs to be continually evident. So it doesn't have to be as tangible as an albino gator. It does have to be something where you can keep that top of mind and just naturally lean into it, right? So, with you guys, with Tourpreneur, and you with Chris, it's, being informative, and it's making sure that it's easily accessible in terms of information and all of that stuff. So in terms of a tour company, let's say you're a food company, if there's a certain type of thing that you do, if it's small bites or something that's off the beaten track or whatever, make sure that you use those types of words in your posts, and the types of imagery and videos, close-ups or whatever. Keep it all the same. Continuity is important.
Excellent. I can't agree more. So your second point, I believe it's about evidence your audience. Now, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So evidencing your audience, we found from the solopreneurs, the solo tour guides, all the way up to the Convention and Visitor Bureau, Brand USA, all of it. People like to visualize what they're expecting to do. Right? They like to picture themselves in a situation. They like to qualify that, right, for a future visit. Because remember, social media is going all the way up, to the highest tier where you're just planning the idea, and like Pinterest, right? So pictures with people in them, and the types of people that you would like to see on tour, that come to tour, that come visit, that, have that connection with your brand already and that you'd like to build on. Visualizing that in video and video testimonials. I mean, however, there's layers you can go, but if you show people what to expect, that's going to get the booking that much quicker, because you're lifting up all of those barriers for where they're like, well, is it safe for my kids, or do they not have kids on a couple's vacation, or what have you? You need to show that.
No, definitely, and it's actually quite frightening how many operators will, if they do have pictures with people in them, it could be people who are in their 20s and their 30s, but their target market are 40, 50s, and 60-year-olds. So you think, no, there's going to be that disconnect, because as soon as people see those images, they'll think this company's not for me. You really have to show images of the people and the demographics you are looking to attract and looking to get on your tour. It's such an important aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't, let's say, it's a museum with an exhibit or something, or if you're going somewhere where there are, you don't have absolute access, if you're on a walking tour and you're not actually going into a location, but you show pictures of that location, you show the exterior, you show that exhibit, and then someone actually comes on tour and they're expecting that, then you're going to get bad reviews, and it's going to be worse than not posting at all. So post what you can actually do and make it look fun.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just posting on social media. If you have lots of good photographs and videos that you've taken of your customers, then website content or content that you can then use in video, like I say, and then as well as the social media posting that you're talking about, that you can use it in so many cases. And the amount of operators who actually physically don't take photographs and videos when they're out on tour, it's quite incredible. So, and it's, everyone has one of these in their pockets now. There's no excuse not to take lots of photographs and take videos. And I know some operators get a little bit shy of trying to be in front of camera, but it's just like, think of the camera as one of your customers, or just as if you're talking to them as if it's a customer. Then it should be no different.
Or even, I've had some clients where, when they've onboarded, the video and imagery is not allowed on tour. And I'm just like, what are you doing? No, unless there's like some really crazy reason, there's nothing better than physically, personally being there. So, if you're worried about losing your tour, or losing your script to it going on social, then to me, that just means you need to know your script better, and you need to be able to veer off of it and, be more conversational anyway. So don't be afraid of it. Do it and make sure that there's people in it. Make sure that they're current pictures and of the exact audience that you want.
Yeah, I can't actually believe a video operator not allowing photographs on tour. That just seems crazy to me. To be, it's the same point that or the same issue that I have with hotels that make you pay silly money for internet. When you're thinking, well, what you're doing is stopping people posting on social media about your hotel. It's just, I just don't understand it personally. But yeah,
Checking in. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So what's your third point? I believe it's about video.
Yeah, you might know a little bit about
Yeah.
video. Yeah, video, I mean, it's if you're not doing video at this point, you're behind the game in my personal opinion. I mean, as we know, it's all leaning towards Reels, it's all leaning towards TikTok, and then now, Facebook has it. And I mean, even higher up in the tier with, YouTube and all of that. I mean, again, it's about being approachable. It's about evidencing what you can actually do. It's about having your personality out there, because your personality down to the very forefront of your reservationist, if you're a big operation, if you're a solopreneur, even more so, that's your brand, right? And seeing the personality and all of it, just people want to know what to expect. People want to fall in love with you before they actually come on tour and visit. And video is the best way to do that. And now it's being preferenced in Instagram and Facebook. I mean, all of this competition with TikTok, you see it start with the kids, you see it start with what they're doing and they're dancing and all of that. And you don't have to do these crazy dances. I think people get intimidated that they have to use the trending music and dance. I mean, I have not danced once, and I'm not dancing right now. I'm totally pregnant. Nobody's going to see that. But it's not.
Oh no, I watched one of your videos on YouTube and I saw you dancing in it.
No dancing. I mean, hopefully I never, ever dance. That's just a personal thing. And because that's going to haunt me forever saying that. But I mean, if you want to dance, it's great. But I'm saying you don't have to do that. Just get some moving video, not just a flat picture every single time. Talk, sing if you want to. I mean, and they don't have to be long, right? That's the best part now, because algorithms are going to be pushing video content more. So you're already going to be in the discovery page much more so than you would be if it were a flat image or no image at all, right? So it's preferenced. And then, from what we've been learning, it's, the amount of engagement matters in terms of, people seeing it as a suggested post in their feed. So if you keep it short, you're going to get more views because people are going to watch it a couple times. The engagement's going to go up. I would love to eliminate these barriers as to where people are worried about what they look like on camera. I mean, you're never, ever going to get to a place where, you look the way you want to look and you're going to come across the way that's perfected in your brain. It's never going to happen. So just bite the bullet, and it comes out at the end of the day looking way better than you ever expected.
Yeah,
So
and the more and more you do it, the better it will become, and the more relaxed you will be on camera. No, as you know yourself, I'm a huge fan of video marketing. It's, for me, it's hands down one of the best tools you could possibly ever use. And it's not just that; it's the many things you can do with the video. The amount of repurposing you can do with video, especially if you have something that's a little bit longer, then you cut that down into 30-second bite-sized chunks for using across social media and everything else. It's such. I just love the tool. Using video, and as well as. And I don't like throwing out stats, but it has been proven that people will process that information 60,000 times faster than they will do by reading a blog. No, don't get me wrong, blogs, content, and everything else is really, really important. But that could be someone looking at your video and then pressing your book button 60,000 times faster than they would be reading something. So if you're not using video, you should be using video. And like I say, there is no excuse now with the devices that we have and everything else. Don't be shy, just get out there, film things, just post it up on social media, see what reaction you get. And when you start to see that you're getting good engagement and good reactions to some videos, do more of it. That's such a good platform. I really believe in it. So
yeah, I mean, it's simple when you think about it. I mean, if there's something people picked up on, then extend on that in the next one, and it doesn't have to be super long. And I love the idea of repurposing. I mean, we've discussed that. I just, even if you just want to talk, you can export that into text. That could end up being the post. I mean, so you could have it in multiple ways. It's so much easier to start with video first and then just pull. Absolutely.
Yeah, in fact, I saw that on your YouTube channel, which I had a look at before this chat, and I loved some of the videos that you have on there, where it's I think it was the Tourism Tea ones, where you had pictures of yourself and you get the text coming up on the screen and everything else. It's just a really clever way, a simple way of having audio with visuals, that even if you don't have the visuals and you have it just with the text and making it a bit more interesting and things. I just loved how it was all done. So
Thank you. Yeah, that was another big experiment. That was an experiment for sure. But yeah, it's basically how it can go into several different. So the tourism tea is something we did last summer, you guys, and it was at Von Mac, and it was, as Chris mentioned, a visualized, basically podcast where you just see the words, and there was like cartoon versions of our personalities. And what we were trying to see was if you can use kind of the same format across different platforms. And you can, but obviously, as you could guess, it doesn't work as well as if you differentiate it, right? So we were, at the time, I think we were all in COVID, and we were really leaning into Clubhouse. So we were like, okay, well, we'll follow up with a discussion of what we found here on Clubhouse. And the Clubhouse portion of it ended up getting us, as an agency, the most leads, and obviously the biggest part of the conversation. But the actual videos with the text planted the seed and kind of got it going. And it obviously performed different on different platforms, but it was fun to do. Definitely fun to do. So yeah,
It was really well done. And it's quite funny, just to go slightly off topic, but how no one really mentions Clubhouse anymore. How that has just died a death.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, during its heyday, we had some really big,
Yeah.
I mean, we had our groups, we had our tourism discussion. But I think everyone just got back to real life, maybe, or as close as we could. So yeah.
Well, that's it. No, that's what we're finding. Just people, especially for operators, they're just so much focused on managing the experiences that people have booked, because they're getting a lot more bookings this year and everything else, because things are starting to go back to some sort of normality. So it's just completely understandable. A lot of people just don't have time for all the webinars we've been doing and everything else. And people are probably just a little bit sick and tired of them, to be honest. They just want to get back out and experience real life. So, yeah. So anyway.
Absolutely.
So point 4, what's your 4th point?
Actually, it segues greatly into our 4th point, which is don't spread yourself too thin, right? So focus on what matters, and that goes to real life as well as to social media, right? So remember how I was talking about the barriers and eliminating the barriers as to overthinking what social has to be before you even get on there. That's what I think, in terms of following the trendsetters and the kids. And when I say kids, I don't mean my kids. I mean, teens and people who are really prolific on it now, is that they just get over it and they just do it, because they enjoy it. And that's what you want to get to, right? So when you have this thought that you have to be on every single platform, you have to be on Facebook, you have to be on Instagram, you have to be on LinkedIn, you have to be on YouTube, like, it becomes really overwhelming. And then you're like, what do I post? And do I post the same thing? And can it look the same way? And, as I mentioned, that's what we had been, testing at Von Mac, to really prove that you don't have to have all this differentiation. You don't have to be every single day on all of the mediums. That's my biggest thing. All my clients are like, well, how often do I have to post? And the thing is, for me, it's more about quality over quantity. And you do have to be consistent. So when I say quality over quantity, I don't mean one post a month, but I do mean, if you can do twice a week, if you could do more, even better. But make sure that your stuff is good and that you're leaning into what you enjoy. And when I say that, I mean any one of these platforms can work really well for you, right? Some of them are going to be more work than others. But Pinterest or TikTok's going to be more work to get actual direct transactions as opposed to Facebook, right? But if you enjoy TikTok and you can make a whole bunch of those really easily, then I say lean into that and repurpose that, maybe more sparsely for Facebook, because you're at least getting the content out there. So when I'm saying don't spread yourself too thin, I say lean into the platforms that you really enjoy. Like, pick 2, maybe 3, but pick at least one, right? You don't have to be on like 10, and you don't have to post several times a day. What you don't want to do is be in a place where you're desperate and you're taking a picture of a swamp cat. You want to make sure that you have something that is valid, and that evidences your brand and that inspires people to come. If it's behind the scenes, be top of mind that, I saw, I'm on this food tour and we have a special chef or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Just make sure that it's something that, sit down and realize what you really enjoy doing and what you can do. And I've advised my clients, the notes portion of your phone, believe it or not, is really, really useful, because if you have an idea or whatever, you can just talk into it. And later on, you can use that for posts. Or if you get lots of questions, or you get the same question multiple times in your email, I tell people, answer it one time, put it in an outbox that has ideas in it. And that's where you can make a blog. That's where you can post some content on social, because that's what people want to know anyway, right? So
Yeah.
it's just about being comfortable and knowing exactly what you're going to do with it ahead of time and not getting overwhelmed. So that's number 4. Don't spread yourself too thin.
Yeah, I can't agree more. It's the same where people get a lot of hung up on trying to build up as many, say, for example, Facebook likes as possible and followers and everything else. It's like, I would rather see 200 people really engage with the content and my brand and putting stuff out there than 20,000 people who are doing absolutely nothing. No, the numbers mean nothing. It's about the people who you're attracting to it. And it's the same with posting. No, you have to post stuff up that's meaningful, it's true to your brand, it shows your personality, and it's not just posting for the sake of posting. That's people just get bored of that really, and they'll walk away from your brand. So I completely agree.
Yeah.
Quality is so much more important. So
Yeah. And I
so
mean,
now it's about sharing love, I believe, isn't it?
yes. And I mean, that's going back to the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, quality followers, again, we're the same way. I mean, don't buy followers. Let's just say that first and foremost. Don't buy followers. It's going to make you seem quote unquote real. It's going to make you seem popular. But what you're doing is you're talking to nobody when your content gets out there, right? Because your content is not going to go to every single follower. Facebook or whatever medium chooses certain ones. So you're going to be talking to bots, number 1. Number 2, when you actually do step into campaigns, you're going to be campaigning to bots. So don't do that. What you want to do in terms of growing and sharing the love is creating that community organically. And the way that you do that, aside from pointing out as you're having your unique point of difference, evidence, everything we've covered, is sharing the love. So this is a great example. We're 2 agencies. We're, both in the same point of content. You can do that with your community too, as a tourpreneur. So, if you're, I keep going to the food, but, restaurants, cross tagging, sharing other people's posts of things that you do on tour, sharing tour goers' posts. That's huge. People love to see that they feel special, and so as long as you give credit, you need to make sure you give credit, because you don't ever have to backtrack. But if you give credit, that's free game. If someone tags you in something, if someone checks into your tour, you can reshare that. You can make a montage post as long as you give credit. You can use that content that you've cultivated by having a great product and highlight it so that you don't even have to do the work. And then you're going to gain those followers. And then when someone goes to book a tour, they're going to see, especially if they're logged into TripAdvisor or what have you, like through Facebook, they're going to see the other people that already follow you. And that's going to give you that authority already. So don't be selfish. Again, so get comfortable, know what you're going to talk about and you're going to go, but then, share the love and talk to other people, and don't be afraid, and don't close yourself in. I know a lot of, tour companies out there where they get scared to do it. They're scared that someone's going to click over to someone else's page and book. But if you've done all these other steps and you've evidenced why someone should tour with you to begin with, then all it's going to do is help you be seen by other people's channels.
Definitely, it helps grow your brand, helps grow that awareness, and I suppose it's a I was going to say the failing of a lot of business owners, but failing's maybe too strong a word. But it's something we've all been there, where we don't want to give away our secrets, or we don't want to share too many things because we feel that someone's going to book somewhere else or whatever. Yeah. Whereas you do learn to sort of think not to worry about that side of things. If people do that, people will do that. But if you're getting your brand out there, if you're doing the right posts and the right social media posts and the right content, you're going to get more bookings that way. And you might get 1 or 2 who may go somewhere else. That's fine. They're not going to be your customer. They don't want to be your customer, probably never be your customer. But then you're going to get more bookings and more awareness and everything else by doing the other things that you're suggesting. And it's I wouldn't get too hung up on what a competitor's doing. If you're doing that, then all you're really doing is worrying about their business and not your own, personally. So
agreed, 1,000%. And those are barriers, that we deal with every day, right? Worrying about what everyone else is doing, worrying about, the overwhelming feeling of having to do everything. It's just start somewhere, start with you, start with your own brand, and then get really confident about it, and you'll see it grow. You'll see the interest grow too, right? Because people will have questions. Definitely. So it'll spiral out. It's great.
Yeah. And before we finish, it's one thing that I want to know from yourself what you find in terms of, if you had to choose one on Facebook, would it be Facebook business page or Facebook groups? Which one do you think gives you the better or the most engagement?
It's hard to answer that because you're tourpreneur and you have the group. So I feel like I would be offensive.
No, but think of it from an operator's point of view. Not
Yes.
from an operator.
I personally like pages because I feel like, that leads to paid campaigns, right? So, if you have a page, a business page, someone can theoretically check in at your tour. They can be part of the community tagging you. You can use that page within groups, which you should do anyway, right? You can have your own group. We all have our own groups with our agencies. Being active in groups is super important, and having a group is very important. As I'm sure you know as well, you can't really market to a specific group. There's certain ways you can go about it, but you can't say market to members of this. Yeah. So, but you can market to, if you're doing campaigns, fans of page, friends of fans of page, people who are traveling, that sort of thing. So, it gives you a lot more opportunities. But, obviously groups are, in my opinion, secondarily important. It's you can't have one without the other.
No, I agree. Facebook business pages are, as you say, vitally important. I just tend to find groups personally especially what we've done is we've advised some operators, and which they've done is, for example, we've got an Irish operator who has basically created a group all about genealogy. So it's all about the roots of Ireland, because obviously a lot of people from America, which is their target audience, have family back in Ireland. So what they do is then people will go onto that group, join that group, and ask questions of, well, whereabouts in Ireland would my family come from if they had this name or that name or all these different things. And it's not overly branded with that operator's brand. It's more like an open group for people who are interested in that. But there is those soft sells, there is those little bits of information that then bring them back to either the website or the Facebook business page or whatever from that, and then they can hopefully get some bookings from that. But it's thinking a little bit out the box as well in terms of what you can do for a community in terms of that group, and then bringing them in that way as well. So it's actually working very well for them. So I'm a huge fan of Facebook groups personally. I think you can get really good engagement and good bookings from it eventually, but it does take work. So
yeah, I think that's genius. I think that's picking what your authority is over, right? Very specifically, and then leading the pack, right? And creating a forum for that, an ongoing forum. I tend to find, I guess, because we lean into social so much over here. I'm not saying that you don't, but we see a lot of trepidation in the time that it takes to cultivate that, right? So that group is going to take time. It's going to be worth it. Yep. It's absolutely worth it, right? As and you guys can tell that with Tourpreneur as well. I think that, a brand would benefit by having someone that revels in something like that, because that is useful for sure. Yeah, that's amazing. I might go join that group because I have Irish roots. So there you go.
Well, yeah, I actually tied in with a campaign because anyone who booked one of their tours got a 6-month subscription to Ancestry.com, so it tied in with that, and it was a whole thing with that. So yeah, it actually worked out quite well. But as you say, it is a long game project. It's not something you're instantly going to get bookings from and stuff like that, or grow your awareness really quickly. You've ran groups, I've ran groups, and obviously with Tourpreneur as well, we know how long it can take for things to go. But if you're playing the long game, very much like SEO, then it's a great way of building up a community and generating interest and everything else. So
depending on who you talk to, it's more fun.
So yes. Well, Merica, I've absolutely enjoyed the chat with you. I think obviously this has been a short podcast, but I think some of the tips you've given has been absolutely incredible. If anyone wanted to know more about yourself or Von Mac, where should they go?
VonMacAgency.com. We're also on social. Please come and follow. We will answer your questions as well. Von Mac Agency, and Instagram, Facebook, all of that. But yeah, we're, and if you're in town, if you're in the South, if you're in New Orleans, come drop by. We're on Oak Street. But yeah, you'll see us online as well. You'll see me there. So especially now that I'm carrying a baby, I'm much more online than in person. So.
Well, yes, I recommend everyone go to Von Mac's social media platforms, have a look at their videos and all their reels and everything else they do. They're absolutely incredible at it. And I just have to obviously finally say, well, best of luck and hope it all goes well with the baby. And we'll no doubt catch up again soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again. Bye.
Thank you.